You're welcome, Margaret. Thank you for being with us this morning.
It feels so good to be up here. It's been months. And to hear this group and to be here present is amazing. And however, one thing that I found amazing was that how easy it was to feel fully connected with people through the internet connections. It amazes me how well the human nature can transform and adjust to that. We're very resilient, more than many of us believe, but thankfully we have faith. I'm so grateful that I turned my daily word over and saw that faith was the word, and it was perfect for this discussion. So I'm honored that you asked me. Thank you. I just want to tell you a little bit about my story to begin with. Anyone that knows me knows that I'm passionate, like seriously passionate. Some people call me a zealot about safety and mobility in transportation. I honestly believe that everybody has and deserves the right to have a safe way to travel on our transportation system. So I've been practicing traffic engineering for 34 years, and last year I had an opportunity to join Florida Department of Transportation in a role that was leading technology all over the Tampa Bay area. And as I walked into that position, I was honored and I was so grateful. I had never been in public service except at the beginning of my career for a short stint. And now that I sit in that chair, I was like, wow, this is really where I belong. And I felt like my entire life prepared me to be in that position. Well, I was in that position for about a year, and then May 1st came. So it was a little strange. So there's a few things that you also need to know about me. I tend to be a leader. I tend to just step into that role very easily. I'm very conversational. I love to communicate. I also am very nurturing. I like to take time with people to help them develop, and I try to inspire through enthusiasm their self-worth within themselves, which is a very different leadership style than I walked into when I went to the Department of Transportation. You might see where this is going. So there's a quote from Eleanor Roosevelt you may be familiar with. Well-behaved women rarely make history. I just totally messed that up. Sorry, Eleanor. Okay, well-behaved women rarely make history. And I think I kind of fit in that category because I don't. I just don't behave well. I'm unique. I recognize that. And anyway. So the short story is my 1-year anniversary came, and then all of a sudden this Friday came. And there was an offer. I had a discussion with my supervisor, and I fully recognized that he and I have very, very different leadership styles. Both of us have 30 years of experience, and neither one of us were going to change. So I kind of saw the writing on the wall, but I just kind of ignored it and said, nah, that's never going to happen to me. Well, May 1st came, got on the phone, and then you always know what that means when the human resources director's on the phone with them. And it was very traumatic because I love my job. It was very stressful because I was put in a position with a team that they needed leadership and mentorship. Anyway, getting to this story, they gave me an offer that I had a choice, that I could accept an offer to move to a different spot within the department, within District 7, which is Tampa Bay's district, or something else. I was like, okay. Dumbfounded, jaws on the floor, freaking out, screaming, yelling. Thank goodness I'm the only person in the office, except for 2 other people, and I'm sure everyone else downstairs heard me too, because I'm passionate, I'm zealot. I couldn't believe it. So poor Dave had to put up with that evening, and then I had a very close friend that listened to me for over an hour rant and rave about the situation. Then Saturday morning came, and back at Thanksgiving, my cousin Sherry Heron, who lives in Texas, we were out in Colorado, and at our Thanksgiving gathering, she gave me this book. and she actually handed it out all to the family. It's The Dalai Lama's Cat by David Mitchie. And I just so happen to be in this part of the book. The Grace of Age. Okay, so it's a story, and this is written by the author, obviously. It's an exchange between the Dalai Lama and Thich Nhat Hanh. And His Holiness gestured for him to go on. The story is set in a bygone era in Japan, when a horse was not simply a horse. It was also a measure of wealth. The Dalai Lama nodded. By now, Thich Nhat Hanh had my full attention too. And this is spoken from the perspective of the cat. This farmer acquired his very first horse, and all the local villagers came around to congratulate him. How proud you must be to own such a magnificent horse, they all said. But the farmer, understanding something about the importance of equanimity, simply smiled and said, "We'll see." Soon afterward, the horse broke out of the paddock and ran into the countryside. The villagers commiserated with the farmer. What a terrible tragedy. What a great loss. How is it possible to recover from such a thing? Again, the farmer simply smiled and said, "We'll see." Less than a week passed, and the farmer woke to find that the horse had returned, accompanied by 2 wild horses. With the greatest of ease, he led them into the paddock and closed the gate behind them. The villagers could hardly believe what had happened. This is amazing good fortune, a cause for great celebration. Who could believe such a thing was possible? Of course, the farmer only smiled and said, "We'll see." His son began the work of breaking in the 2 wild horses. It was dangerous work, and during the course of it, he was thrown from one of the horses and broke his leg. This happened shortly before harvest, and without his son's help, the farmer faced a great challenge in collecting his crops. "How difficult is your hardship," the villagers told him. "Losing your son's help at a time like this? There could be few greater misfortunes." "We'll see," said the farmer. A few days later, the imperial army sent troops to every village to round up fit, able-bodied young men. The emperor had decided to go to war and was rallying the troops, but because the farmer's son had a broken leg, he was excused from service. Thich Nhat Hanh smiled. So it goes on. His Holiness looked at him with an appreciative smile, a beautiful illustration. So that was what I read. And it really allowed me, that guided me to recognize that maybe this wasn't such a horrible thing. This was going to open an opportunity. And so in that moment, I took this horrifying, incredibly dramatic situation, something that was happening to me, and it allowed me to raise above it and recognize what opportunity lay before me. Of course, this is after days of processing, I get it. I mean, yeah, it always takes time. So the next passage is really, this moves into that more of what I think all of us need to face in what we are doing today. So His Holiness looked at him with an appreciative smile, a beautiful illustration. "Yes," agreed his visitor, "so much better than constantly reacting to change as if we are caught up in some kind of egocentric melodrama. Up and down like a roller coaster. Indeed," said the Dalai Lama, "we forget that it's only a matter of time before there is change, and once again, a shift in perspective." So they had offered me a new position, a new opportunity. So I kept processing that. By the way, on the call on Friday, I was offered a position in a different section. That's the only thing I knew. I knew nothing about what that other opportunity was. Yet I was supposed to give them a decision within like 3 days. So Monday morning, I got into the office. Fortunately, after some processing, I was able to get up Monday morning. I was excited about going to work. I was like, okay, so let's see what the future has in store for me. I went in and talked to the gentleman that would be my new supervisor. He's actually 3 tiers up. But I went and spoke with him. We sat down for a half an hour, and I'm like, yes, I am all in. I was so excited, and all of a sudden I saw all the opportunities that were available, because I am going to be in a position to help influence the safety and mobility of everyone, because I have lived in this mentality of recognizing that in 2018, 468 people died on our roadways, and those are just the state roads. And just think about how that affects jobs, how that affects people, individuals. Those were fathers, mothers, sisters, brothers, grandchildren. It's horrifying. One person dies, and think of the ripple effect. And that's why it's so important. But then we also have to think about the ripple effect of everything that we do. And that's what happened. You just need to stick it out long enough. I've been trying to keep the positive going throughout this change in our society right now, all around the world. Some of us are familiar with the age of Aquarius. We've heard that term before. Could this be it? You know, this is such a significant change, and I find myself wanting to be patient and just wait. The true message that I have for today is that if you're not fully satisfied with where you are, you need to keep moving. Don't get stagnant and wait and let life happen to you. But cherish whatever's going on and recognize that as an experience, because it's helping you build who you're going to be. It's a learning opportunity. And so take that and then just be patient, because if you're still struggling, accept that you're just not done. You're just not done. So just keep swimming. Remember Dory? From Finding Nemo, just keep swimming. You know, get to the other side. The shore is there. Don't give up too early. Just keep going forward. And I am actually excited, in a kind of twisted way maybe, but I am really curious to see where humanity's going to be when we get to our, quote, new normal. I don't want to go back to the way it was. I don't. Personally, I think that this is a time when humanity is going to have a significant shift, and we're going to recognize who we truly are. And it's a beautiful, beautiful gift. I know people are going through struggle. I'm not saying that is great. Please don't understand me. I know there's struggle, and I want everyone to be around to help support people get through those struggles. But I also see that there's something absolutely beautiful that's coming out of all this. So please, keep your faith. Thank you. Thank you for letting me be here.